Welcome, everyone. I've got my friend Jason Campbell from Hawaii, the big island of Hawaii. Is it the big island?
Oahu,
Oahu, damn it. Oahu.
big island for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't even know. Oahu, but the secret is he's also got top producing amazing brokerage in San Antonio. Option one. Jason, what was the production last year for option one? Because you weren't in Hawaii yet, just in San Antonio.
My personal production or the whole
The
brokerage?
whole team, and then your personal production.
So the whole brokerage, we were probably at about 700-800 million range, somewhere around there. And that's myself and 50 agents. So that's bad. I mean, we have a really high ratio of closings per agent. In fact, the last stat I read said we had the highest number of closings per agent of any brokerage in the state. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what I read.
One thing that you told me last time, which was a surprise to me, you covered San Antonio. Here's a surprise. I didn't know to check until you told me, but San Antonio is the seventh largest city in the United States.
We
and
might
I was
actually hit number 6. I think we just passed up. I think there was it Minneapolis or something like that? That was number 6.
Yeah,
Something like that. But I think we just barely passed them up very recently. So we're the 6th largest city in the country now.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts.
And nobody ever thinks about San Antonio. You think about Austin or Dallas or Houston, but San Antonio very rarely comes up. And it's like, it's a pretty big city.
That's massive.
Yeah.
That's massive. All right. So now you're in Oahu and you just closed your first few transactions. You've only been there officially since June. And you're bringing some of the things that you learned in growing and building the San Antonio brokerage over here. But I want to start with the core piece of this. And I think you and I shortly talked about agents' business in general. Most of everyone's business comes from referrals from our network of past clients, Sphere, agent to agent, and other referrals.
Yeah.
For you, where are you finding that most of your referrals come from?
So I'm a giant combo platter, right? We do a lot of leads. Option one real estate is a leads model where, we buy a lot of leads from Zillow. We buy a lot of leads from realtor.com and Google, and we generate a lot of leads from various different sources. And we teach people how to establish new relationships, foster those relationships, and then hopefully turn them into referrals. So what I'm trying to tell everyone is when you get a lead, that lead is what I like to call, it's like an icon on a computer. When you click on the icon, the program opens up. Well, if you successfully establish that new relationship, that's kind of like opening up that prospect's or that client's entire sphere of influence. And if you do a really good job for them, now you're going to get referrals from mom, dad, brother, sister, kids, whatever, coworkers. But you're not going to get those if you don't earn them. So the biggest hole that I've ever seen in just about every training, in every brokerage that I've ever seen is no broker's ever really sat down with an agent and said, let's design your client experience. What does that even look like? So I get a lead, what happens? And you need to plan out every tiny little step in that process from beginning to end and say, okay, from the time I got the lead to 10 years after closing, every single aspect of that, how do I add a +1? How do I add surprise and delight to this process? How do I wow the crap out of my customers? How do I wow them? I want to wow them to a point where they will refer me out like they would their favorite restaurant or their favorite movie. And we've all been there, oh, have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet? No. What do you mean? Do you live under a rock?
Wait,
what, you haven't called my agent yet?
Did you watch Deadpool and Wolverine?
Of course.
I did too. All right.
Yeah,
continue.
It was outstanding.
It was.
But are your clients referring you out the way they refer out their favorite movie or their favorite restaurant? If the answer is no, you're doing it wrong.
Well, what do you think? Geez, what do you think is the difference between somebody going in, watching Deadpool and Wolverine, loving it because they can see themselves as part of the story. It's entertaining. They loved it so much. They love that experience that they go ahead and tell somebody else and be like, did you watch it? No, you've got to watch it. Now, how
Word
do
of
we translate that to us? What part of that do we bring over here?
So you need to create that. And therefore, what you got to do is you need to sit down and think about what is my client experience? What is that? And I think the best way to start with that is to say, okay, if I were a home buyer or a home seller and I was going to hire a realtor, in my mind, what is the perfect agent? What would they do? What personality type would they have? What kind of responsiveness would they have? What kind of communication would they have? What would they be doing for me as a client that would wow me? Start there. You know, you're always going to be your own worst critic. So it's like, okay, well, what in my mind, what's the perfect agent? Be that. You know, people ask me all the time how I sell so damn many houses. And I was like, well, I make all the calls you don't make. I send out all the letters you're not sending. And I wow the crap out of every client that I have because I'm thinking I want to turn them into four more. And that's when you have a business. So if I buy a lead from Zillow, and we all know that leads from Zillow are everything but inexpensive, right? They're very costly. I mean, some of them things are as much as $2,000 a pop, just for a lead. So in my mind, it's like, okay, if I make that investment in that particular, am I worried about that transaction? A little bit. But what I want to do is wow the crap out of them and turn them into 4 referrals. Now my cost per lead just got cut down, right? If I got 4 referrals as 5 transactions divided by $2,000, the cost per lead just went down dramatically.
Yeah.
Multiplying instead of adding and subtracting. So how many of y'all out there in internet land believe that you get referrals you don't ask for? If you're yeah, if you're not asking for them, you're not going to get them. So here's some
so
scripting for you. If you've done a good job for your client, you know you've done a good job for your client. They're ready to give you a 5-star review, which you should also be asking for. Then why not say, here's my scripting. Here's what I do every single time, like clockwork.
shoot.
Hey, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, did I do a good job for you? Oh, yeah, man, this was spectacular. This was a really great experience. You did a great job. Great. I need something in return. Sure, whatever you want. I need a referral. Who do you know that's looking to do business in Texas? Who do you know that's looking to do business in Hawaii? And just ask for it. How hard is that? That's not a tough script, but I can't
Well,
tell you how many agents don't do that.
that's because we get, I'm telling you from experience back in the day when I started. I get in my own head, right? So I'm thinking through this and I'm like, it's the feeling, did I come across like I need the business? What are they going to think about me? What if they say no? All this stuff. How do you get over that? Dude, is it
Way,
practice or
get out
what?
your own way. You are now a business owner. A lot of people forget that you're a real, as a realtor, you're self-employed. This is not, you're not an employee, right? This isn't a job. This is a business. So you got to stop thinking realtor and think entrepreneur. How
Yeah.
do I expand and grow my business? Well, I need to do that through referrals because referrals don't cost anything. That lead was very expensive. Marketing is very expensive. Sending out mailers, very expensive, but a referral is free. The best
That's
form of marketing on planet Earth is referrals. I mean, that's the warmest lead you're ever going to get. So your conversion rate will be the highest on those. So ask for them. It's that simple. You know,
so
go ahead.
once somebody refers someone to you, what what's the process? How do you make them feel, the person who referred them to you? How do you make them feel even more special? Because it's all about the client experience on both ends now, right?
Absolutely. So I'm going to call back the person that referred them and say, hey, Bob just called me today. I cannot thank you enough for that, man. And if anybody else runs your direction, send them my way too. But I'm about to wow the crap out of them the same way I did with you. So thank you so very much for that. And I'm about to go wow him to death.
Mm.
Then I'm going to call them and say, hey, what did Brad say about me, man? Oh, well, Brad said you were the greatest agent on planet Earth. I'm like, gosh, I thought he was your friend. Why would he lie to you like that? You know, a little humor goes a long way.
That's
So
so
a warm invite. Well, I'm going to take just as good care of you as I did with him. You know, my big thing is I want to actually earn referrals from you. I mean, you came to me as word of mouth from your friend. I'd like to earn that from you as well. So at the very beginning of our relationship, I'm already kind of quasi asking for a referral. But I'm saying, you know what, I'm going to do this the old fashioned way. I'm going to earn your business, you know, old school style. I'm going to wow the crap out of you. You know, we're going to start out with tacos. Tacos are on me. They always taste better when they're free. I don't know what it is. You know, they put that little free sauce in that taco and you're like, hey, this is really good for some reason. But yeah, so, you know, just how would you meet a brand new friend? You know, that's the way you treat them. They're a brand new friend of yours.
Oh, I like that, man. A
Yeah.
friend. You know what? One thing that you mentioned early on, brand new friend. By the way, I'm taking notes if you didn't know. I like that. You mentioned something that really made me look at this a little differently. So yeah, our number one source of business, actually, our business is very similar in the sense that most of my business comes from referrals, and then really close second is online leads for us, right? And then social and the mailing. The rest is like pieces, little pieces. But main two, referrals, online. Here's one thing you just said that just made me look at it differently. When you click like an icon or a button, when you click on one lead and you do a great job, all of a sudden the rest of the items start popping up. It's like, wait a second, you did such a great job. And I wrote it down because you made an impression on me. Then you're like, wait, now you've got the children open up, the parents open up, the friends, the coworkers, the neighbors, church associates or friends, the club friends.
They know
I'm
their
like,
whole sphere of influence opens up.
dude,
Exactly.
I didn't simplify it that way, and it was just great. So thank you. I love that.
Well, you know, I'm full of something other than just crap. So, yeah.
That was good. All right, so now the experience.
So I'll give you an example of a referral string because I like to, you know, illustrate real life, right? So my commitment to wowing my clients is so high, it's paramount in everything I do. In fact, I always say, look, your client experience is not important, it's everything. So for instance, I get a realtor.com lead and it is Rabbi Stern. And Rabbi Stern is one of the only two um, rabbis in the US Army.
Mhm.
So let's think about this for a moment. A Jewish rabbi might know a few people. You think?
Yeah, a few, and he has influence.
Yes. Okay. So now my commitment to wowing people is absolute. So the first thing that I do is, okay, I realize that he's an Orthodox Jewish rabbi. So the first thing I do is I hop on Google and say, okay, let me learn about kosher houses. What is important to a Jewish client? What are their beliefs? You know, how does the home need to present? What needs to be in there? Where does it need to be located, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I also learned a lot of cultural things as well. You know, one of the first things that really made a big impression on Rabbi Stern is when I met him at the first house. I shook his hand, nice Laurel Hardy handshake, put my hands behind my back, and I greeted his wife. And he says, well, I noticed you didn't offer to shake my wife's hand. I said, well, I assume you're an Orthodox Jewish family. Your wife can't touch another man. That's very disrespectful. And he was like, oh, very good, young man. You sound like you did your homework. I said, well, not only that, I did a lot more homework than that. I picked out 6 different houses that have 2 sinks, 2 dishwashers, 2 refrigerators, because I know your meat and dairy cannot touch.
Yeah.
And I also chose homes that have hard surfaces so that you can kosherize the home when you first move in. And he was like,
Mhm.
oh my God. Well, and as an added bonus, they're all within walking distance of a shoal because you can't be driving on the Sabbath.
That's right.
His He said, oh, I can't even begin to tell you how hired you actually are. And he ended up buying the 3rd house. And then I said, Rabbi Stern, did I do a good job for you? He said, it was spectacular. It was above and beyond anything that I've ever experienced. I'm in the Army. We move a lot. I've never had a moving experience this good. Every single aspect of this, it sounds like you had it all planned out right from the beginning because it was all so smooth, so easy. Our family transitioned right into our home and it was like easier than renting something. And I was like, well, outstanding. I need something in return. And he smiles at me. He says, oh, what can I do for you? I said, I need a referral. Who do you know that wants to do business in Texas? He says, well, incidentally, my brother-in-law would like to buy a couple of investment houses. That's what I heard. That's what I was told. A couple of investment houses. Now, this isn't a sterling example of you don't know who people know, right? So that was a $350,000 Realtor.com lead, right? No big deal. Nobody's going to get rich off that. That pays the bill. Wonderful, right? I call the brother-in-law, and the brother-in-law says, oh, no. I don't need a couple of investment houses. I need to make $150 million disappear by June. We've got 6 months. I need single-family residential homes, and each one of those homes needs to make sense as an investment. Can you do it? I've called so many brokers, and nobody seems to be able to do it at that scale. And then I sat back, and I was like, you want... You need to.
You're like, I only work for you now.
And so I was like, okay, well, on the one hand, it's like you don't know how hard that order is to actually fill. It's one of those questions of, be careful what you ask for because you might actually get it. And so that's why I have no hair on my head right there. That's how I got scalped. But
that's the story behind that.
That's the story. Yeah, that's the one I'm going with. So to play this story out, I'm like, oh, I've got to get really creative really fast. I'm just a single agent, handling a client. I'm like, damn, I got to find, and he all wants these homes to be in rental range, which means I need to find homes that are under $300,000 that make sense on paper. And he needs $150 million to disappear. He explained it to me. Okay, this was a tax purpose. I mean, he's doing this because he's going to spend 150, but it was going to save him 250 million in taxes.
Mm-hmm.
He explained it to me. I caught about the first 2 paragraphs before it went way over my knowledge base, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to focus on the real estate. You lost me in the second paragraph.
Okay.
But, okay, so we're going to fast forward a little bit. I put together 6 deals that absolutely made perfect sense, and all 6 of those deals fell apart for various reasons.
Okay.
But there's no damn way on earth I'm going to let down Rabbi Stern's family.
That's true.
I'm committed. There's no way that I'm not filling this order. So I find a mid-sized company in Houston, and what they do is they acquire properties that have title problems. And they will come in and cure title. They'll fix up the house. They put it back on the market and they sell it under market value so that they churn real quick. So I'm sitting down with the CEO of the company. I said, hey, man, can we do about 600 of them? And he's like, oh, shit, man, I don't know. I don't think we've got the acquisition money to buy that many. I'm like, don't worry about the acquisition money. Here's the deal we need to construct. I need you to spend 150 million bucks total retail at the end. So I'll get Rabbi Stern's brother over here to fund all the acquisition of all these properties. You do what you do. Go in, cure title, fix up the house, sell them to him because he'll be the ultimate buyer at the end at a severe discount where they all make sense as rentals. I want my full 3%, so build that shit into your calculations. And then let's rock and roll. So fast forwarding, 632 houses later, we had sold 150 million and 1,000. We went $1,000 over budget. And at the end of that, I made $7.7 million in commissions, something like that. You can do the math on 150 million.
How long did it take that?
Took a span of about 5.5 months, but we made it by that June deadline that he was looking for, because I think he needed it by mid-June, and we made it. So at the end of that, he says, "Oh my God, not only do I have 635 houses, but you just saved me, $100 million more in taxes than what I just spent."
Dude.
Does that make me one of your favorite people in the world? Did I do a good job for you? He's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you pulled it off." I said, "Great. I need something in return." He says, "Anything, you name it." I said, "I need a referral. Who do you know is looking to do
Oh, wow.
Texas?"
And wait, and what did he tell you? How did that go?
"Well, I got just the guy." He says, "Do you do business in Fredericksburg, Texas?" I said, "Absolutely. It's 26 miles away from me. I'm in Fredericksburg all the time." He says, "Great. I'm going to refer you over to my hedge fund guy." Call the hedge fund guy. And he's like, "Oh man, I heard you're Mr. Whiz Kid. I can't believe you pulled that shit off. I mean, how many homes did you end up with?" Like 630 something houses. He's like, "Holy crap. I've never met an agent that could do that." I said, "Well, we had to get creative. We had to think outside the box." And
You had to think outside the MLS.
I had to think outside the MLS, had to think outside the box in a really big way. And we figured it out and we got the order filled and he's happier than a pig in shit. And yeah, so then it's like, okay, well, he's like, "Here's what my situation is." He says, "My wife just got a degree in making wine. And she says she wants to buy a winery in Fredericksburg, Texas." And I said, "Oh, well, I just happen to know that there's 2 of them that are off market that would sell, and there's 3 of them that are actively for sale right now. So why don't you fly on in and we'll go check all 5 of those out." So we do. I take them to my favorite taco spot and I start building a relationship with them, talking about any damn thing but real estate. "Tell me about your family. Tell me, what got you into wine? What kind of wine do you make, et cetera, et cetera." Everything but real estate. That's the key. You write down what I just said. We talked about anything except for real estate.
Everything but real estate.
Everything but real estate, family, friends, all that shit, hobbies, all the stuff I could think of that had nothing to do with real estate. I'm loading my guns so I know which bullets to shoot them with, right?
Mm.
And I show them all 5 wineries. I had done my homework ahead of time, so I knew everything there was to know about all 5 of those wineries. I also had all of their books ready to rock and roll before they even showed up, so I could sit down and go over all the financials of their existing business, all of the equipment that they were going to sell with it. And oh, by the way, these 3 wineries would really love it if you would just keep the employees on staff as well. It's not a requirement, but it's definitely preferred.
Gotcha.
So I knew my shit. Victory preparation, right? Okay, so it came down to 2 different wineries. I had taken them to eat dinner at Martini's. If you know anything about Fredericksburg, Texas, Martini's is an absolutely fabulous restaurant in downtown Fredericksburg. And she made up her mind which one she really liked. And hedge fund guy says, "Fuck it, we'll buy them both." And I was like, "You'll what?"
Wait. What price range are we talking about here?
I mean, he stroked a check for a little over $50 million like it was nothing. Just beep. Who are these people?
Wait, and so let me stop. Let me rewind. You get the rabbi from what source? Looking at what price point?
Realtor.com at 350,000.
So that's the whole thing you just
$150 million investor, which led me now to another winery purchaser at 50 million. And the story doesn't end there.
Dude.
As part of our conversation before they bought the wineries, I'm like, "Well, who's going to help you come run the wine business?" And so, well, it turns out my whole family is going to get in on this project. So we have to go buy some acreage because everybody wants to buy acreage in Texas. So what we need you to do is there's 7 of them. We need you to go find them 50 acres each. Their budgets range between 10 and 15 million each.
What?
Go find something and get them as close to each other as you possibly can. Now, here's where the story gets weird. I'm like, "Oh shit, there are not 7 pieces for sale right now that are 50 acres or more." So it's like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I'm sitting there at the taco joint that I take everybody to in Fredericksburg. And walking in winery owner number 2. And he's like, oh shit, my best friend from high school is literally selling off his ranch. He busted it up into 10 pieces, and each one of them's 50 acres or more, but they're all adjoining. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? It's
Dude,
almost
no
like God
way.
himself is trying to help me now, right?
Yeah. He's
And
like,
I'm
hey,
like,
hey,
hey, hey,
Jason,
hey, is it
look
on
over
the
here.
market yet? And
Look
no,
over
it's
here.
not. Give me that guy's fucking phone number. I've got 7 units sold right now.
Wow.
I called him up and said, hey man, good news is I've got 7 of those, that I can sell literally right now. They're adjoining to each other. And I got the listing for the other 3, which I sold before they even made it to MLS, because one of the guys coming in referred me over to his cousin. So I sold off 10 50-acre pieces, 1 referral stream. And I said, this story is so fantastical. If I was sitting back, I wouldn't fucking believe it. So when I was showing this to my agents, because we did a referral training, I said, I'm going to do something very uncharacteristic. I'm going to
Yeah.
show you a bank statement. So I put my bank statement up on the big board. So you see right there, in 2023, I earned $11.9 million as a realtor doing what you do every single day.
Wow, man.
I actually made 8 figures as a realtor, not as a broker, not as, hey, this is what my company did. This is what little old bald bearded Jason did. And how did I do it? None of those big deals would have ever been a lead. This is what I try to tell people. Not one of those properties was in MLS. Not one of them. Not a single one. Think about it. All the investment properties, those were title problems. None of those were listed in the MLS. The wineries were not listed in MLS, right?
Mhm.
The acreage properties that we sold never made it to MLS. Therefore, my argument is it never would have came through as a lead from Zillow. It never would have came through realtor.com. It wouldn't have come through any of that. The only way that book of business happens is by referral. So if you look at the lead I got, the little lead made me what, $10,000 in commissions? What it led me to, 11.9 million in commissions. So if your business is not predicated on who do you know and did I do a good job for you, then I need something in return. I need a referral. If you're not running your business like that, I'm telling you right now, you're absolutely leaving the biggest piece of business on the table for somebody like me to go get.
Well, I just took notes, buddy. I thank you. By the way, thank you for not telling me this story because we've been talking a lot lately. So thank you for leaving me in the dark until right now because I love this story. This is really good. I like this. So
Yeah.
here's what I wrote. By the way, I took a crap ton of notes. Everything but real estate. Love that. Um, make it like a brand new friend. I love that. But here's what I wrote at the end from this. Because as I'm thinking about us shifting as agents into it's a paradigm shift into how we function as a business, right? With the whole NAR thing.
Yeah.
I put the value we bring to the client is our ability to think on our feet, to adapt and to find solutions to other people's business problems that's out of the ordinary. And you did that. You
Yes.
you did that to the highest level. And I think a lot of us are like, oh, it's not on the MLS. Well, I'm sorry, I can't, I don't know what else to show you. It
Oh,
stops there.
what a mistake that is. There's so many properties out there that are not in MLS. So many. And you can negotiate your fee. The only reason why I stayed at 3% is because I needed to make all those numbers work for him as rentals. But 3% was fine on 630,000. I didn't need to
Yeah.
get greedy. I probably could have negotiated more, but I wanted to create a win-win-win, and we did that.
Listen, I'm gonna have the team because our team listens into all this and then uh cuts it up, makes it great. I'm gonna have the team listen to this and make like a PDF of some highlights written out. And I'd love to interview you again on just this one story. So we're like, we'll go right into it, starting with the realtor.com lead, online lead.
Yeah.
Well, in some cases, some people be like, I'm not taking, I don't do that. That taking it and then just, dude, that's a beautiful story. It's like the epitome of being an amazing real estate agent. I love this story.
Yeah.
Have you
Well, and there's
have you shared?
nuggets in there that so many people miss when I tell that story. The first part, the first nugget you take out of that is yes, I got a $350,000 lead, but I researched the crap out of it first.
Yeah.
Again, I come from a military family. Victory loves preparation. What do I need to know about a Jewish client? Right? That is a culture that is very different than mine. What do I need to know? And then once I have that knowledge, what am I going to do with it? I put it into action. That's some things that, these are little nuggets that people don't catch when I tell the story. I
No.
researched the kosher house. I researched the fact that they need to walk to a shul. They can't drive on the Sabbath, right?
No.
I knew all of that. I knew not to shake his wife's hand. I knew this before I ever even met them. I was prepared. I had 6 homes lined up that fit all that criteria. And I just took them to all 6 of them at once and flabbergasted the client. He was so blown away. He
Dude, I
invited me over for dinner. His wife had prepared a meal. I'm like, oh, I'd be honored to come have a kosher meal with you. It was a neat experience. I learned a lot about the Jewish faith. But how many realtors would take the time to do that before that meeting? That's the difference between a millionaire agent and
seriously.
somebody who's just barely scraping by. I
Yeah.
will do all the stuff you won't do. I will take the time. If I know I'm meeting with an Indian client, what do I need to know about their culture? Which direction does the home need to face?
So on that piece,
Yeah.
when you're talking to them at the very beginning, what does that conversation look like over the phone? Because they're online leads. How do you get to that piece of the conversation? Is it just you talking about everything but real estate, or how does that look?
Well, I have a very sophisticated way of getting information on people. Are you ready for this? It's really sophisticated.
Oh my God, shoot.
I ask them.
I knew you were gonna say that, man. Oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
Stephanie says this is amazing. Jason, I'm bringing you back, man. So I really want to, like I said, I want to PDF this because I think what you did with one client, what I'm thinking is you, first of all, I know you outside of this interview, so you're amazing. You're an amazing human being. You just function differently in a great way. But I think what we can learn as we're watching, it's like we build on who we are as professionals for so long, and we're sometimes building up to the point that okay, we're ready, and you perform now at such a high level that you're finally ready for those opportunities to come. And dude, I feel like everything aligned for you on this one, like
You
boom,
know,
boom, boom, boom,
it
boom,
did.
boom, boom.
But I'm a firm believer that if you think the law of attraction is bullshit, you're so far off.
Not on this one,
And
dude.
I always
There's
think,
no way.
man, it's amazing how my luck just keeps getting better the harder I work, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. And look, I don't know if they're related. I don't know if they're correlated. So
And you can make the argument, okay, you got lucky with the investor, right? Not everybody knows a $150 million brother-in-law. I say, yes, that I get that. I'll give you that might have been lucky, but everything that happened after that, that's a pattern.
yeah. No,
It's
well,
a
the
pattern.
pattern started with, I mean, the words that you choose, man. Look at what you said. I wrote it down. You said my commitment is to wow the people, to wow the client.
I
That's
want to wow them. So I have a big whiteboard, and at the top of that whiteboard, it literally says, and I'm not going to censor this, how do I wow the shit out of somebody today? And right under that, it says, how many random acts of kindness am I going to commit where I have absolutely nothing to gain from the action? Now, if
Okay.
you're not putting out good karma and lining up all of those amazing coincidences, I don't know what the hell is.
Dude, I love this. All
But I
right.
think just about being a good human being at the end of the day. And honestly, do I really need to worry about getting a buyer rep signed in any of those scenarios?
Dude, not
Our
after, not,
bullshit is completely irrelevant in my world.
no, of course, man. Like you do a great job with one. That second referral's like, yeah, whatever you want. I don't care. I just want to work with you, right?
Well, I try to create
Yeah.
a lot of referral strings. As you see, that was what I like to call a referral string. That whole string just kind of kept perpetuating it, kept going, kept going, kept going. But what
Yeah.
happens? What does your business look like if you got multiple strings going? Right? And you can create that. You just victory loves preparation. Think about it ahead of time. What does my client experience look like? Let me write it down. I want to know what happens. I'll give you another example. Easy, quick one. Let's just say home inspection. The home inspection is part of the process. How do I add a little wow factor to the inspection process? These
Tell
are
me.
great questions to ask yourself, right? So here's an idea for you. I'll give you one for free. I went out and had a lot of branded magnifying glasses made. So you have a magnifying glass, says
Mhm.
I One Real Estate on it, right? I went out and bought a bunch of little mission envelopes. It looks like this is your mission, right?
Yeah.
I
Boom.
put that magnifying glass in there, and then I
Mhm.
put an envelope and also put a little letter on there. This is your mission should you choose to accept it.
Okay.
Somewhere in your home, I have hidden a gift card. While the inspection is going on, let's see if you can find it. In the envelope, it says, if you're super lame, here's where it is.
That's funny.
So they got this little magnifying glass and they're just going around the home inspection trying to find that gift card. Surprise and delight, a +1. The gift card is something they can use like Home Depot or something like that. They're moving into a new home. This is not a hard one to figure out. But if every single aspect of your home or home buying or home selling process was thought out ahead of time to where you added surprise and delight to the process, what do you think happens to your referrals? They become very easy to get.
Of course, man.
I've never been to a brokerage training anywhere where I had a trainer or a broker sit down and say, what is your client experience?
Yeah.
I think that's literally the most important thing. And it's the one thing that nobody trains on. What does that
Yep.
look like? What if every single aspect of your entire thing was like the gift card thing? If every aspect of your transaction from beginning to end had a +1 and surprise and delight in it, what would you wow the hell out of your client, do you think?
Mhm.
And do you think you might get some referrals?
Yeah. I mean,
You think you're going to get repeat customers?
yeah, you
In 5 years when it's time to sell, who are they calling?
yeah.
So 78% of people polled by the National Association of Realtors said that they couldn't even remember who their agent was. Almost 80% of the time, you mean to tell me you can't even remember who your realtor was?
Dude.
That's bad follow-up. That is bad nurturing. That is a lack of a wow factor. You didn't make any impression on your client whatsoever. You were too transactional. You weren't a human being. You didn't wow anybody. So
You hit
asking yourself,
it
why
on
does business suck? I can tell you, if you need to see the guilty party, you need only look into a mirror.
that. I like, well, hold on that, Jason. Last question. Then we'll let you go. And then we'll have you back on for another part. Daniel Martinez asked a good question. How does your approach change as a leader in making sure you're running a brokerage the way you run your individual business?
So that's a whole nother training right there. And I'll tell you how I kind of patterned that. I stole this from Herb Kelleher. And if you don't know who Herb Kelleher is, Herb is a gentleman who, if you think back to 9/11, you had two planes that smashed. Yeah, there you go, nuts.
Dude,
I was telling
listen,
you to get that book, right?
you told me to order it a month ago. I ordered it.
And I hope you read it.
It's
But
next on.
Herb, so imagine what happened to the travel industry when those airplanes hit those buildings. It went to hell in a handbasket. Just about every single airline out there was filing Chapter 13. Every single one of them out there was getting, bailouts from the government, et cetera, et cetera. But there were two airlines that did not. That was Virgin Atlantic and Southwest Airlines. So Herb Kelleher was at the helm of Southwest Airlines. Now think about what he did during 9/11. He did two things. The first thing that he did was he ran these big old billboards and he says, our customer is not number one. Our employees are, because if we get it right with them, they'll get it right with you. That's huge. Think about what is happening in that environment. He is now stealing all the best talent from all these companies that are in big trouble. And he's like, okay, I want to bring them here. I'm going to have them in a really fun, awesome environment. We're going to work on our ecosystem to where we have the happiest employees in the industry. He changed how they dress, how they can operate in the plane. And they tell a story in that book, Nuts, where he got his first complaint. And I love to tell this story because it really has such a huge impact on me. He got a letter, and it was from a lady who I guess was flying from one Texas city to another. I think it was the Houston-Dallas run. And he said, well, the flight attendant really joked and made light about the safety presentation. And I really felt that was really inappropriate. And if you're not going to fix that, then we're just not going to fly your airline anymore. Herb Kelleher simply wrote her back and said, we will miss you.
But that's totally your attitude too. I know.
Yeah, we will miss you. We're going to take care of our people. Our people are paramount to the business, and we want to make sure that they are extremely happy and they enjoy what they do. So as a brokerage, my focus is, how do I wow the shit out of my agents? I need to give them everything they need to be successful. They're going to get leads. They're going to get the best technology. I'm going to hire people to take stuff off their plate so that they don't do stupid things like paperwork. And yes, it's a brokerage expense, but at the end of the day, I got the happiest agents in business. And if they do a good job of wowing people, then they're going to get a crap ton of referrals.
That's right.
And so now I'm multiplying what I'm doing by taking care of them and saying, let me show you what I do. Let me give you all the tools that I have as well. And I'm going to hire people to take stuff off your plate so that you have time to wow people.
Yeah.
So my agents don't put signs in yards. They don't take pictures of houses. They don't measure rooms. They don't come get the sign and lockbox when it closes. They don't do paperwork. They don't even write their own offers. If it's a non-money making activity, my agents don't do them. I hired somebody else to come in and do it for them. French fries. I tell everybody, you want to be a millionaire, you don't need to run the whole McDonald's. You just need to make really good French fries.
Dude, all right. We're going to stop there. We're going to stop there. Where are you mostly on social? Are you? Because I had a few people message me here and on the Facebook group.
Honestly, my social presence hasn't been all that great lately, but I've got this company called A Brilliant Tribe that's going to help me to fix all of that.
Get that going for you. Yes. I love that.
I did there.
I like that, Jason. Thank you. Well, this was awesome. In fact, once we hang up, I'm looping in my team so we can do a very specific interview just on this process, because I think more people need to listen to this right here, because there's so much I don't remember taking this many notes from just a 30-minute interview. So this is pretty powerful, man. Great.
I'm not your average broker that just kind of sits in the back of the room and collects checks, man. I'm in the mud. I'm in the weeds.
That's right. You are.
I lead from the front. And so it's like, hey, if I'm going to be grossly, ridiculously successful, let me show other people how to do it too. I have this ridiculous goal, and hopefully, Tristan, you'll help me get there. I want to manufacture 100 millionaires. That's my goal.
I love that.
And I've had so many people tell me, oh, you can't do that because, agents are just not built to be millionaires. And I don't accept that, because I am one, and I was an agent, and that's how I did it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm not a special, unique snowflake.
I like that. Well, that's because you're doing the work, man. You do the work.
It's all work. And just, you need to care about your clients more than you care about your commissions. And when that happens, you'll get more commissions than you've ever seen. So you need to work on wowing the shit out of your clients. You need to sit down and think about your client experience. What does that look like? Define that, write it down. What is the plan? The military always said, if you fail to plan, then plan to fail. Good word.
Dude, listen, you're dropping too many great quotes. I can't keep up. Okay. Shit. Slow down.
Hey, man,
Dude,
it's a fun business. Make it a fun business, right? You can make it fun if you want. You just got to get out there and make it happen.
all right. Jason, thank you. Everyone else, thank you so much. I'm going to text you when we're done. Jason, I'll loop you in.
Sounds great. Thanks for
Thanks,
having
everyone.
me, man.
Thanks.